So that's the arrival area, and departures are over there. That's how pretty straightforward this airport is. What's up, everyone? So before this whole global pandemic thing, I was in a country called Timor Leste. You may have not heard of the country before. I've heard of it vaguely, but knew almost nothing about it. It used to be called East Timor. Today we know it as Timor Leste. Ironically enough, both the word Timor and the word Leste mean east, so we're talking about East, a country called East. I was lucky enough to visit Timor Leste before this whole thing started, before this whole global pandemic happened. And as I was digging around some old footage, I found it and thought I'd share some of it with you. But before we get into Timor Leste, the country, let's get into where exactly it is, because I can bet you that very few of you can even guess where East is. East. Yeah, so Timor Leste is there. It's on the southern end of the Asian continent. It's almost Australia. It's very close to Australia. Yeah, to get to it is quite the trek. It's not easy. I happened to fly into the only international airport in Timor Leste, in the capital city of Dili. So, how do you get to Timor Leste? Easy. You start off in a country that has a flight to Bali. In my case, I started in Kuala Lumpur, in Malaysia. Flew to Bali. You have to stay the night in Bali because the flight to Timor Leste happens in the morning, and you don't want to miss the one flight a day that takes you in there. Actually, there are 2 flights a day usually, but we'll get into that in a second. So after you stay the night in Bali, in my case, in that spectacular airport hotel, the Novotel Bali something. It's a very long name. I'll stick it on the screen somewhere up here. You stay the night in this beautiful hotel, and then you go on into your flight. We flew with an airline called Sriwijaya Air. There are 2 major airlines that fly in here, CityLink and Sriwijaya. They're both about the same price, they're both about the same quality, and they both fly out of Bali into Dili. It starts off with a nice enough meal. The plane is so-so. There's nothing interesting about it. The service is nice, the staff are great. The food was surprisingly good considering where I was going and how remote and unusual it is for there to be travelers here. The food on the plane was good. Just arrived in Timor Leste. This is the airport in Dili. It's called Presidente Nicolo Lobato Airport. I know that because I'm reading it off the sign. Check it out. So that's the arrival area, and departures are over there. That's how pretty straightforward this airport is. There's 2 flights a day coming in from Bali in Indonesia, and I believe there's one more coming in from Darwin, Australia. So 2 flights a day from Bali, and the one from Darwin are really your major connection points into Dili, Timor Leste. Now, I'm not going to get into a ton of detail in this video about Dili or Timor Leste. I just wanted to give you a look at what it's like to travel there. We happened to fly on Sriwijaya Air. I grabbed a quick shot of the condition of the plane on the inside. I'm going to throw that up on the screen now. It is what it is. In the airport itself, it is tiny. You've got one luggage belt. Now that's it. It's just one luggage belt, and that what you're seeing there is pretty much the extent of the terminal building on the inside. Before you get there, there's an exterior bit where you have to walk through to get your passport stamped and get your entry visa. So visas are done on entry. You can't apply for them in advance, at least not at the time that I was traveling. This may have changed at some point or this may change. So once we get into the terminal section, you've got this one luggage belt. You've got a duty free. It's not a lot of stuff in there, but there's a duty free. And guess what? There's a giant sign right next to the luggage belt telling you all about the fantastic Burger King. That's 1.4 kilometers away. I actually happened to go to one of 2 Burger Kings on the island. The following shots are from that second Burger King that's actually in Dili itself, like in the city center, whereas the one near the airport is closer to the airport. But they're both very close to each other. Anyway, I went with a fish option and some fries, and it was a combo. It came with a can of Pepsi. How was it? The quality was nothing really to complain about. It tasted like Burger King fish fillet, or fillet of fish, or does McDonald's call it fillet of fish? Can't remember what Burger King calls their sandwiches anymore. Anyway, they're fish sandwiches. It was a Burger King fish sandwich. Tasted like a Burger King fish sandwich. I've had dozens of them over the years. The fries were pretty good. Again, tasted like Burger King fries. Nothing to complain about, nothing to really write home about. But really, if you're coming here to eat, just find something better than fast food. This other stuff is way better. Yeah, just like some of the local bakeries and stuff in Dili had some pretty interesting food. In my case, I went for this particular combination. For me, that little puff thing, pastry puff thing, it reminds me of a Sri Lankan fish patty. So I was pretty excited about that. And yes, it was filled with fish. It wasn't spiced, but those little baggies of spice are fire. The green thing is great. It was sweet. The donut, I don't think I'd ever buy that donut again. But the green sweet thing that was fluffy on the outside and filled with like a sweet coconutty, sugary thing in the middle was fantastic. The fish patty puff thing was. As far as other food goes, there are some interesting places in and around Dili. Outside of Dili, we did travel to some of the rural areas of Timor Leste, and by rural I mean very rural. The kind of places where the only foreigners only expats to ever go here are if you work for a development agency. There's no other reason to go out to some of these super remote places. Obviously, there isn't a ton of infrastructure in terms of food or just infrastructure even in terms of roads, but that's all content that we should cover on another separate video when we can really get into depth about it. I just wanted to share the travel experience at Timor-Leste and just a very basic glimpse at the type of food you can expect to or not expect to have while you're here. Okay, that's it for now. See you guys in the next one.
Dame tu cosita, dame tu cosita.